All right, everybody, we got a great one today. The Wintergreen TT Ascent event in Roseland, Virginia, in the mountains of Appalachia, the mountains of Western Virginia. It's a fantastic event. It's roughly a 7-mile mountain climb straight up with some pretty steep grades, especially for about 20 minutes of it. It's a great event. It's been off the books for the last 6 years. I first started doing this climb back in 2013. I've done this event a few times. But yeah, because of, COVID and other things, they just have not had this event on the books, but it's back this year, May 17, 2025. Let's talk all things Wintergreen Ascent. This is, I'm going to have a lot of my athletes there because this is just a really all out knuckle grinder, fun, beautiful event. And it's got a great starting venue and it's got a great ending location. So everything is just perfect with this event. So highly recommend this event. Study it, all that great stuff. And so what we're going to do today, strategy, gearing, cadence. We're going to pre-ride this thing. Weight. We're going to talk about weight. Got to talk about weight. Got to talk about nutrition. And we got to talk about an enemies list. You cannot do an event without an enemies list. Knowing who your enemies are, what their data is, what they're going to do, if they're going to show up, how they're training, all that great stuff. So tune in. We got a great, I got a great enemy for my enemies list. I won't give you his name yet, but boy, I got this guy. He's been in my sights for a long time. So this is what I did the event back in 2016. You can see the mountains back there. It's just a gorgeous, and this is on one of the steepest parts of the climb. I'm 185 pounds in this picture. I got the gun, sun's out, guns out. You know, I got way too big muscles for to do any kind of damage on anybody on this climb. But, you know, since then I've lost 20 pounds. So I'm really looking forward to nailing a great time on this, taking a few minutes off my best time. When I did it on this day back in 2016, I averaged 293 watts for the, and it took me 45 minutes to do the 7 miles. And so that was a great effort. It was all that I had. That was my FTP at a time. I was able to carry my FTP all the way for that 45 minutes. So it was a great effort. Really had a great time, sweating, just dying out there, 1,000 deaths. Okay. So here's where it is. Mountains of Virginia. We have a great starting location down here. Devil's Backbone Brewery is a great brewery restaurant. It's a great, it's a huge place now with numerous buildings down there. It's great. Here's the Wintergreen up there, and you can see that it kind of winds around the mountain and it ends up in the the mountains at the top up there at Wintergreen. Now, when we're thinking about a strategy, I broke it down into 3 sections. This climb is roughly 3 sections. So here's, if you look on Strava, this is kind of what it looks like. But when you're out there and you ride this thing, and I've ridden this climb many, many times. Even yesterday, I drove up. It's an hour from my home, drove up. Me and another athlete who's going to do the event, we pre-rode it just so that I could really refamiliarize myself with the climb. I had not done it for a few years. But it's really in 3 sections. And so this first section, which everybody goes out too hard, you're doing 18 miles an hour through here. It's roughly, 7 to 10 minutes long, whoever you are. Then there's this. This is the wall, and it's a massive climb. You're grinding along, depending on your gearing, 55 cadence, 55 RPM, maybe 50 RPM, just again, depending on your weight, depending on your gearing. And then this last section is kind of flat climb. It kind of stair steps up. And so when we get to the top, this is kind of what the flatter sections will look like, where you might have like 30 yards where it's just, 0% grade, and then it kicks back up and it has this nice stair step effect. And so when we think about all this, what do we want to do for our strategy? So we have to understand the physics of pacing. So, when we're doing a climb, let's just jump into it. All right. So when you're going up a climb, to go twice as fast, you got to do twice the power. That's it. Twice as fast is twice the power. Now you're going slow, but to go twice, to go from 6 miles an hour to 12 miles an hour, all you got to do is double your power. Now, when you're going on a flat or you're going down, you've got to drop 8 times the power to go twice as fast. So on any course, on any TT course, where are you going to get time is when it goes up, right? Or, the wind's coming at you, that's when you're going to get time. When the wind's behind you, you're not going to get that much time. The wind's battling into you, you're going to get time. When it pitches up, that's where you drop your bomb. So when you're going into the wind, that's where you elevate your power, right? Elevate your power, what you're doing. All right. And so when we're looking at this strategy, we want to go, and this is a strategy for me. Everybody's going to be different, but for me and for most people, and what I recommend is to go easier here, harder here, easier here, harder here, easier here, harder here, easier here, harder here, and sprint to the finish. Okay. And so basically that would be a great, strategy for most people. Now, there might be other considerations that you're throwing in there or whatever, but this is an FTPT effort. It's going to be roughly 45 minutes. How do you know your FTP for 45 minutes? Well, you got to do a 45-minute effort. Your 20-minute chances are very good that if you're doing 20-minute testing, that you can't do that 20-minute for 45 minutes. You can get kind of close, but so you're going to want to know you're going to want to look at the course, understand your weight, kind of get a understanding of how long it's going to take you to do this thing. But for 7 miles, I know right now it's going to take me about 45 minutes. And so I'm going to want to test. I'm going to want to understand what can I do up a climb at 45 minutes to understand this. And so then when we're on the climb itself, right? So I'm thinking FTP. So here I'm going easier. Here I'm going harder once again. So if this is an FTP effort, here I'm going, below my FTP. Here I'm doing my FTP or above, depending on how good I feel on that day. I might be 103%, 104% for this roughly 20-minute section. So this is roughly 7 to 10 minutes. This is roughly 20 minutes. And these are based on my numbers. And this is roughly going to be about 15 minutes. Okay, so and so this is going to be easier again, harder here, easier again. And so if we think of like just minus FTP or plus FTP, minus being below FTP, plus being a FTP or above. So I'm going to be minus here, plus here, minus here, plus here, minus here, plus here, minus here, plus here. And so if my FTP is, roughly 300, what am I going to do? I'm going to, if I'm going to cruise along here, like at maybe 285, 290, and then right here, settle into the groove, 295, 300, 295, 300, then go back to maybe 290 through here, then go here 300, and that's how we do it. And so it's this is what we, call often the art of the TT, is just really understanding your margins, your floor and your ceiling around your FTP. So does that make sense? Okay. Well, and then also, I like a really simple super screen. So this will be my screen. I'll just have lap. I'll know that I'm going to be about 45 minutes. I'll just have my lap time, my 3-second power, my heart rate, my cadence, my lap power. I like a super clean screen for events of like this TT. And then I just know from pre-riding the course that, there's this road on the left that, I can gun it. I know that when I see the fire station on the right, that it's almost over. We're all in by that point. So I know the course and know how it works out and all that great stuff. All right. So we talked about strategy. Gearing, you're going to want your best gearing is that you can possibly have. You really do. You're going to want the biggest thing that you can put on the back. You're going to want this kind of the smallest things that you can put on the front. I don't have a lot of money to upgrade some stuff. And so, when it comes to that, that really steep wall section, I know that I'm going to be grinding along for a lot of part of that at 55 RPM, which is, what I did yesterday. I really wanted to pay attention to that to see where I was. The good thing is that I always do my FTP testing and pretty much all my, 20-minute sweet spot intervals, FTP intervals, whatever, on this 8%, 3.5 mile climb that I have out my door. So muscularly speaking, I am really well prepared for that grind. I don't have a problem generating power because I have the muscular strength, simply because I have this climb that I train on all the time. Cadence, we just spoke about that. It's going to be, you're going to be at the beginning, you're going to be in the 90s. But when you're going up that climb, you're going to be, depending on your weight, depending on the bike, depending on a lot of stuff, you're going to be doing the slow grind. For me, it's, like I said, 50, 55 for parts of that. So you really got to understand where you're going to be and who you are as an athlete. Pre-ride this thing, I just pre-rode it yesterday. I'm going to do it again, sort of a training. I'm going to do like a 95% effort or a 90% effort between now and the time trial, just to kind of understand, see if I can figure it out, see if I can have fun with the numbers and figure out where my floors are going to be, where my ceilings are going to be, where my minuses and pluses are, and just to refamiliarize myself with the course itself. Weight, that's a big one. So I weigh everything, right? I weigh my water bottles. So here's my Bevo bottle. This is stainless steel. This is the lightest water bottle that I have. So, this is half the weight of this. So I will be using my Bevo, or I'll be using the plastic water bottle, not the stainless steel water bottle. One of other things, I weigh everything. I weigh my socks, right? This is not a speed event necessarily. You're going to be going, 8 miles an hour for a lot of this thing. And so, you don't necessarily need to wear the Aero socks. You definitely want to be on a road bike, not a TT bike, but I weigh everything. I weigh my socks. I weigh my bibs. I weigh my jersey. I weigh everything. Great Graham scale. Get one if you don't have one. I like to weigh everything. Okay. Let's talk about nutrition. Yeah. So basically, I will definitely have a water bottle. It could be very hot. So like I said, I will have this water bottle. I will have, I'll be really well fueled going into the event. So I'll have all my carbs, all that great stuff. I'll do a gel right before the gun goes off, if you will. But I'll probably have like 60 grams of carbs in this water bottle, and I use Formula 369, mixes up really well, great flavor. So I'll probably have 60 grams of carbs in this, which is a glucose, fructose 1-to-1 ratio. I might go 90. I don't know. But yeah, I'll definitely have one bottle. It's going to be hot out there, and I'll need it. I'm a sweater. I'm a drinker. And so for me as an individual, I have to go with the water bottle. But if you're like a camel and you don't need that water bottle, that's weight, but we're speaking about weight. I'm take everything off my bike that I don't need. I'll take off my rear water. I'll only take one water bottle cage up that mountain. I'll leave my other water bottle cage in the parking lot. Right. Nutrition again, the day before an event, 2 days before, I'll start taking a little more carbs. The day before, I'll have a little more carbs, and then I'll have a big breakfast that morning, all that great stuff, so that I run into this thing. I'll be well hydrated, well fueled right when I get into this. Okay, now we get to the enemies list. All right, so go to Strava, go to this segment, look at the top people. So these are some of the top people who have ever done this. This is Ben Wright, fantastic athlete. He lives down here. Just a massive talent, massive engine. Sean Gardner, a lot of you might know him. He once held the World Everesting Challenge. So he once held that record. So he's a great guy as well. But a lot of great names on here. I like to sort like who is in my age group. So these are the people that are in my age group. And then I want to look at this guy right here. And for some reason, yeah, Dan Netzer. So that's his name right there. He is one of the top overall people on this. So right there. So he's one of the top people. He's exactly the same age as I am. And he is a monster talent. And I have, you know, he's my age, but like I've never come close to beating this guy. He has this massive engine. He beats everybody in Virginia all the time. He's been doing it for years. He can just look back and laugh at all of us. But I have this project. It's called Project Dan, that I'm 52 now, that when I'm 60, I'm going to spend the next 8 years building to be as strong as I can be, so that when I'm 60 and he's 60 and he thinks that he could just retire and cycle off into the sunset. Oh no, when we both turn 60, I am going to drop some bombs on him, and I am going to repay him for all the times that he's destroyed me. But one of the great things that we could do is that he makes his data public. I have not spoken to him about his data. He has not shared his data with me, but he makes it public. So I downloaded his data, and let's jump in and look at his event. I think this is his 2019 data. And so this is the effort itself right here. And he would have won that day, his age group, absolutely. But you can see he is Dr. Spock when it comes to time trialing. That's really his specialty. He races crits, road races, all that great stuff. But he is just a time trialist. He has that mindset for the time trialist. And, you know, he does the world championships events. He flies to Europe, all that great stuff. But he is a long time, fantastic time trialist, right? He just has that mindset for it, and he has the physiology for it. So you can see he's got this great warm up right here. I mean, he's just Dr. Spock, like when he does this. Like, this is his warm up. 3 great neuromuscular efforts to really stoke that up. Then, you know, relaxing, waiting for the gun to go off. And here the gun goes off, and let's jump in and look at that. So he does 344 watts for his event, and it took him 35 minutes to do this event. So he's at 344 watts here. He has a great trend line. It's pretty much straight and flat as can be. His first like that 7 minutes is 367 watts. And then for the big middle section, he does it in 339, and the other section is 336. And here's where I would like to talk to Dan and see what happened. Many things can happen, and you just have to ask questions. I, as a coach, just have to ask questions and see how he was doing. He could have been affected by heat this day. This could have been his strategy. I'm not sure. But in that first 7 minutes, that's his biggest watts of the day, but that's not where he's going to get his most speed. Where's he going to get the most speed on this course? This section right through here. That's where he's going to get his speed. That's where he's going to get his time, right? The slower you're going, that's where you want to drop bombs. And so I would want to ask Dan, I'm like, Dan, like, why did you go out so strong? That maybe you're warming up. Maybe that's your style. I don't know. There can be a lot of things. Why did this go to 339, right? So he's a big discrepancy right here between that first section and that section through here. If he would have dropped this by 5 watts and raised this by 5 watts, he would have gotten seconds. He would have been able to race this faster. But there could be a lot of reasons why that is, right? One of the reasons is possibly could be, when we think about generating power, some people can do a great job at generating power, spun up to, 120 cadence. Other people are 95 cadence. Like, we generate, every one of us is an individual, and we generate power differently. Dan lives on the east coast of Virginia. It's flat as can be. There's no mountains. And so for me, it's really easy to generate my FTP at going cadence because I have the neuromuscular development, the muscular development because I'm just doing the climb all the time. He might not have had that muscular development going into this event, and that could be a problem in and of itself. Or he might have just went out too hard. I don't know, but there's a lot of different things that we could that I would want to ask Dan to see how he did it. Right? He might not been very comfortable at RPM 70 or 65 simply because he might not be trained up. He might be trained up, but where he lives, it's going to be hard to train that type of slow cadence power development for this event to do your best time. But again, if he would have dropped, this by 5 watts, put those 5 watts here, he's going to get more seconds here than he got here by dropping that big bomb. But again, it's a great effort. Dan's a master at all this. The heat might have bothered him, it might have started affecting him. And so for me, that's going to be one of the biggest things. My body is going to, by the time we get done with that first 10-minute, 18-mile-an-hour section and hit the wall, my body personally, if it's a hot day, that's not going to be good for me. I'm going to blow up. And no matter what strategy that I had going into this, all of it's thrown out the door if it's a super hot day. Maybe it was in 2019, right? So there's a lot of different things to think about when thinking about the TT and getting your best time going up that mountain. But you can see here, this is roughly the first third. But this is the slowest part right here. And then you can see this is the stair step at the top. But he had a great overall cadence. His average cadence for the entire thing was 78. Now, if we're thinking about like my strategy going out for this is going to be my strategy. So we have the 3 sections of the climb. You can't really see it, but that's the climb. Here's my power data from a previous effort. And so basically, right, I'm going to do 95, 98% of my FTP. Here, I'm going to try to do an FTP, right? And then when the flat sections come, I'm going to lower my wattage. When the stair step goes back up, I'm going to jam it again, bring it back down when it gets flat, jam it again, flat, jam it. Then I'm going to try to do a 3-minute VO2 effort at the end and then sprint for the finish. Now, that's pretty ambitious, so we'll see what I can do, but that's kind of my general strategy. If we were to look at my power targets and just thinking in terms of going a little harder, going a little easier, going a little harder when it pitches up, going a little easier when it's flat, that's kind of going to be my strategy going into next week's climb. And then, what happens if it's hot outside? What happens if I don't get the most miraculous, beautiful sleep the night before? What if I'm just having an awful day? Well, here we have to go to Tin Cup, right? The best sports movie of all time, where he just says, grip it and rip it. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to grip it and rip it and hold on as long as I can. All right. We talked about strategy, gearing, cadence, pre-ride this thing. Weight is crucial. I'm going to lose a few kilos in a month. And so I'm started today. I just learned about this event last week that it was back on, so I started today. I'm 165. Can I get down to 162, 161, 160 by event day and still hold my power? We'll see, right? So nutrition, we talked about that. And, of course, you got to have an enemies list. The Wintergreen event, it is a great, fun event. I hope to see everybody there. Take care, everybody.